For years, many wrote off Sam Darnold as a bust, a promise unfulfilled. But what if everything you believed about him was wrong? Sam Darnold was handed the reins as a 20-year-old franchise quarterback with sky-high expectations. Yet, his career began with struggles and mistakes that haunted him, earning the label of a disappointment. Darnold's early years as a quarterback were marred by a lack of confidence and moments that led to criticism from fans and analysts alike. Just when a narrative seemed set in stone, fate took an unexpected turn. Then came Minnesota, where Darnold suddenly found his stride. Against all odds, he threw touchdowns and led the Vikings to unexpected victories, something his past teams never witnessed. The transformation from perceived failure to emerging star unfolded before our eyes, raising questions about the perception of players in the league. This begs the question, can a player's destiny change with the right opportunity and support? Join me as we delve into Darnold's journey, exploring how he defied the odds, reshaped his narrative, and ultimately found success in a new environment. The early hype and struggles. Sam Darnold was hailed as a generational talent, entering the NFL with the weight of expectations on his young shoulders. Fans believed that he could transform the fortunes of the New York Jets, a franchise desperately searching for stability. However, the excitement surrounding his debut rapidly faded, as inconsistencies plagued his early performances, and he often seemed overwhelmed on the field. One particular moment stands out. During a game against the New England Patriots, Darnold infamously admitted that he was seeing ghosts, a phrase that encapsulated his struggles. That moment shifted the narrative from promising rookie to a player struggling to find his footing. As Darnold faced mounting pressure, the Jets struggled as a team. Coaching changes and roster turnover only added to his challenges. In his first few years, the Jets organization struggled to provide Darnold with the right environment for success. Offensive coordinators came and went, leaving instability. In their wake, the offensive line struggled to protect him, and the receiving core failed to give him the reliable targets he needed. By 2021, frustration reached its peak after the Jets drafted Zach Wilson. Marking the end of Darnold's time in New York, he was traded to the Carolina Panthers, where he hoped for a fresh start. Unfortunately, the issues followed him. Darnold's time in Carolina also proved to be turbulent, where he faced injuries and continued to struggle on the field. His narrative as a talented quarterback began to solidify into one of failure, a sharp contrast to the early hype surrounding his career. Minnesota, a surprising turnaround. Then came Minnesota, a place where Sam Darnold suddenly found his stride. Against all odds, he began throwing touchdowns and leading the Vikings to unexpected victories, victories that his previous teams had never witnessed. Darnold, once labeled a bust, now appeared reborn. In the face of skepticism, this transition showcased his evolution, an evolution that surprised everyone, including fans who had almost lost hope. The Vikings, facing their own quarterback turmoil, welcomed him with open arms. They needed someone to step up, and Darnold was ready to prove his worth. He embraced this challenge with open arms. This was a chance for redemption, to rewrite his narrative and show the world what he was truly capable of. As the games unfolded, he began to exhibit flashes of brilliance, something that had been missing for years. The connection with his talented teammates, particularly Justin Jefferson, amplified his performance. Suddenly, he wasn't just a player being evaluated by past failures. Instead, he was a key player in the Vikings' success. The shift wasn't merely about changing jerseys. It was about a fresh start, a new playbook, and tailored strategies that focused on his strengths. That's the beauty of sports. He learned how to leverage his athleticism and intelligence under pressure, which had always been buried beneath the weight of expectations. Minnesota became a sanctuary, a place for healing, growth, and unexpected triumph, allowing Darnold to shoulder the weight of his former criticisms, now celebrated for his resilience and determination, showing how the right environment can change everything and lead to unimaginable success while overcoming past hardships. The Vikings' quarterback crisis. When the Minnesota Vikings faced their quarterback crisis, everything changed for the team in the midst of a season filled with high hopes, confidence, and expectations. Kirk Cousins, Their starting quarterback was coming off a productive season, bringing optimism after a wild card exit. But in Week 8, tragedy struck. Cousins suffered a devastating Achilles injury, one that would end his season and leave the Vikings scrambling for answers at a time when they needed stability the most. With Cousins on the sidelines, the team's offense struggled to find its rhythm. Fans watched in despair, wondering how their playoff ambitions could survive such a blow. The pressure mounted, as they needed a quick solution to their dire situation. Darnold's addition as a backup meant that expectations now rested on his shoulders, a player who, for years, had been labeled as a bust. But here, in Minnesota, the tides began to shift. Darnold, who had previously battled inconsistency and doubt, now found himself thrust into the spotlight during the Vikings' critical moments. His transition was far from smooth, but glimpses of potential shone through during essential games, where the team needed someone to step up and deliver against formidable opponents. With skilled players surrounding him, including Justin Jefferson, Darnold embraced his role and started making plays that rejuvenated the Vikings' offense. Suddenly, the whispers of doubt faded as the team executed a newfound game plan, one that capitalized on Darnold's talents, and renewed hope emerged amongst the fans as the Vikings navigated through their quarterback crisis together. Enter Sam Darnold, the unexpected savior. When Kirk Cousins went down with an Achilles injury, the Minnesota Vikings were left in a dire situation. Fans were uneasy, not knowing who would take over as the starting quarterback, as the team desperately looked for answers. Then, in stepped Sam Darnold, a player many had written off as a bust. However, Darnold was ready to embrace his chance, determined to show that he was capable of greatness. With a newfound confidence, he began to display the talent that once made him a top draft pick. Darnold's performance was transformational, and he quickly became a driving force behind the team's success. Under the guidance of Minnesota's coaching staff, their offensive system tailored to highlight Darnold's strengths, and the quick reads along with play-action passes allowed him to shine. Suddenly, he wasn't just a backup quarterback. He was a key player leading the Vikings ahead. Each game showcased his growth as he connected with talented receivers, like Justin Jefferson, making plays that thrilled the fans. Darnold's passion and resilience were palpable. He wasn't just playing to win games, he was playing for redemption. Those who once deemed him a failure started to recognize the fire he brought to the field. In Minnesota, it seemed like he had finally found his footing, and each completed pass built upon his confidence, changing the narrative of his career. Sam Darnold, now a symbol of perseverance, stood tall and ready to prove that he was indeed the unexpected savior everyone needed. Transformation through system and support. Minnesota provided Sam Darnold with a revitalizing opportunity, something he desperately needed. Unlike his past experiences, he now operated within a system designed to highlight his unique strengths, rather than asking him to conform to a rigid style. Coaches took the time to develop plays that utilized quick reads, helping Darnold harness his athleticism and instincts, which were evident during his college days. Play-action passes became a staple of the Vikings' offense, allowing him to fake defenders and create openings for his teammates. A significant factor in this turnaround was the elite support around him. With dynamic talents like Justin Jefferson and T.J. Hawkinson, Darnold finally had the weapons he needed to make plays in critical situations. The offensive line also played a pivotal role, giving him the time to think and execute his throws without feeling pressured. This nurturing environment shifted the focus from his past failures, which often stemmed from a lack of support, to a more positive outlook. It was evident that the coaching staff believed in his potential, infusing him with confidence. When he took the field, you could see the shift. Gone were the hesitant throws and the second-guessing. Instead, he displayed a poise that made him look like a different quarterback entirely. This transformation demonstrates how crucial the right system and supportive environment can be for a player. When given the opportunity and with the right pieces in place, athletes can bloom and reach their full potential, often surprising everyone who ever doubted them. The mental shift and resilience. Darnold's journey in the NFL has been nothing short of a roller coaster ride. And at the heart of his transformation was a significant mental shift. After years of being labeled a bust, he faced tremendous pressure to perform. Yet, through it all, he managed to find resilience. The turning point came when he embraced the idea of starting fresh, leaving behind the weight of previous expectations. In Minnesota, he entered a supportive environment where he could finally trust his instincts and showcase his true talent. This newfound confidence allowed Darnold to take calculated risks on the field, a stark contrast to his earlier style, which was often marred by hesitance and self-doubt. As he settled into his role, Darnold realized that he was not merely a backup. He was a key player, someone that the Vikings could rely on to lead them forward. This mental evolution also came from his experiences in previous teams, where he learned valuable lessons about perseverance. The struggles he faced were stepping stones to his growth, reinforcing his belief that failure does not define a player, but rather fuels their determination to succeed. With a chip on his shoulder, he approached each game with a fresh mindset, ready to prove to himself and his critics that he could rise above the challenges. Darnold's resilience is a testament to the power of belief, as he transformed his narrative from a struggling quarterback to a confident leader who has defied expectations and found success in a sport often quick to judge. Why wasn't Darnold recognized earlier? Sam Darnold's journey has been anything but straightforward. Yet the reasons he wasn't recognized earlier are multifaceted and often tied to the circumstances surrounding his career. When he entered the NFL as the third overall pick, the weight of expectations was monumental. Fans and analysts alike believed he would be the franchise quarterback the New York Jets had been desperately searching for since, well, maybe Joe Namath. Unfortunately, Darnold found himself amid a chaotic organizational environment. The Jets' management was notorious for its instability, with constant changes in coaching staff and offensive schemes that left him without proper support. It's crucial to highlight that expectations were sky high, but the surrounding factors proved detrimental. Darnold was never given a consistent structure to help him thrive. Injuries, poor offensive line performance, and a lack of elite skill players compounded his struggles, making it challenging for him to showcase his true potential. Furthermore, the media scrutiny surrounding his early career intensified the pressure. Mistakes were magnified, and highlights were often overshadowed by his struggles, leading to the label of being a bust. It wasn't until his transfer to other teams that the narrative slowly began to shift. With a different coaching philosophy and improved talent around him, Darnold started to display flashes of the quarterback he was always meant to be. The question isn't just why he wasn't recognized earlier, but rather how many athletes suffer due to circumstances beyond their control. Darnold's story is a poignant reminder of the importance of context in evaluating athletic talent. Sam Darnold's story is about more than football. Sam Darnold's journey in the NFL is a compelling narrative that goes beyond just statistics and game performances. It reflects the trials and tribulations of a young quarterback thrust into the spotlight at a tender age, and the pressures that come with such a status. Drafted third overall by the Jets, expectations were sky high. However, Darnold often found himself battling not only opposing defenses, but also his own mental hurdles. His early years were underscored by mistakes and missteps, leading many to label him a bust. But what if there's more to his story? After being traded to the Panthers, there were glimpses of brilliance, yet consistency eluded him, reminding us that even talented athletes can face setbacks. But perhaps the pivotal moment came when he joined the Minnesota Vikings. Here, Darnold's story took a remarkable twist. With a supportive coaching staff that tailored a system to his strengths, he flourished. This became a turning point, not just for his career, but for how we perceive potential. Darnold's resurgence is not merely about football. It encapsulates resilience, the quest for redemption, and the stark reality that sometimes all an athlete needs is the right environment to thrive. His evolution from a high-potential rookie to a player making decisive impacts on the field serves as a reminder that timing, support, and self-belief are crucial elements in the world of sports and life. Darnold's story, therefore, is ultimately about more than just football. It's about growth, perseverance, and the power of second chances. Sam Darnold isn't just a quarterback who reversed his career trajectory. He symbolizes hope for anyone labeled a failure, and his story challenges us to rethink how we measure success in sports and life. In a landscape where athletes are quickly judged, Darnold's journey reminds us of the importance of context, resilience, and second chances. It is a story of redemption, illustrating that sometimes all a player needs is the right opportunity and the right environment to truly thrive. As fans and analysts, we must remember that labels can be misleading, often ignoring the complexities behind each player's journey. Darnold's revival in Minnesota exemplifies this notion, proving that with the right support system, anyone can overcome adversity. What began as a narrative of disappointment has transformed into one of potential and promise, as Darnold showcases his growth and newfound skills on the field. His ability to command the offense, make smart decisions, and deliver in clutch moments speaks volumes about his evolution as a player. Today, he stands as a testament to the idea that perseverance and hard work can lead to success, even when the odds seem stacked against you. So, let's celebrate Sam Darnold, not just for his achievements, but for the journey he undertook to get here, highlighting the real meaning of sportsmanship. In conclusion, may Darnold's story encourage us all to look beyond surface-level judgments and appreciate the deeper narratives of struggle, growth, and triumph that define us.